What if I told you that everything you've been taught about building wealth in your 30s is a lie designed to keep you chasing something that doesn't exist? That the financial freedom they sell you is actually a prison, and the man with $100 million might be the most trapped person you'll ever meet. I'm Tom, and this is Tom Thinks. I'm here to cut through the Wall Street jargon and give you the real talk on your money, even if it hurts your feelings a little bit. The 20s foundation myth. Look, we need to start by addressing the biggest lie you've been sold about your 20s. Everyone tells you these are the best years of your life. You're supposed to be carefree, traveling, having adventures, figuring yourself out. Here's the brutal truth that nobody tells you. Your 20s actually suck. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm saying it because it's the foundation of everything that comes next. You're hotter than you'll ever be. You have more energy than you'll ever have again. But you're also kind of broke. You can't figure out what you want to do with your life. You feel lost. You work non-stop at miserable jobs. You're single, dating people with crazy emotions. You go out drinking more than you should. And you look around at everyone on social media and think, why does everyone else have it figured out except me? Now, here is the secret that changes everything. This chaos, this confusion, this emotional volatility, it's not a bug in the system. It's the system. Your 20s are designed to be uncomfortable. They're the fertile ground where the seed of your future self gets tested, like a sapling growing roots against the wind. Think about it this way. When you're in your 20s, you're collecting data. You're trying different jobs, different relationships, different cities, different versions of yourself. Some of it works, most of it doesn't. And every failure, every heartbreak, every wrong turn, it's not wasted time. It's gathering intelligence about what you actually want, what you're actually good at, and what you should actually avoid. Stick with me here, because this is where it gets interesting. The reason your 30s feel so much better isn't because life magically gets easier. It's because you've been through the fire. You've built resilience. You've learned what matters and what doesn't. You've pruned away the relationships that drain you, the jobs that crush your soul, the habits that hold you back. And what's left is stronger, clearer, and more focused. One of the comments on Cody Sanchez's post said it perfectly. The best thing you can do in your 20s is to start working as if you're in your 30s as soon as possible. Because here's what happens. If you treat your 20s like the training ground they are, if you embrace the suck, learn the lessons, and build the skills, by the time you hit your 30s, you'll have more done than 99% of your peers. You'll have the emotional intelligence, the professional skills, and the self-awareness that most people are still scrambling to develop. And that foundation, that's what real wealth is built on. Not just money in the bank, but clarity about who you are and what you want. That's the asset that compounds faster than any stock or real estate investment ever could. The financial reality check. Now, let's talk about the cold, hard numbers that nobody shows you when you're dreaming about your 30s. Because here's the brutal truth. The financial deck is stacked against you in ways your parents never experienced. I want you to really hear this next part, because it explains why you might feel like you're running on a treadmill that keeps getting faster. According to research from the Oprah article on the new midlife crisis, Generation X, that's people roughly in their 30s and 40s right now, lost almost half their wealth during the Great Recession. Compare that to baby boomers who lost about a quarter. Let that sink in. Half your wealth gone. And it's not because they were irresponsible or spent too much on avocado toast. It's because they entered the workforce during economic downturns, bought homes at peak prices, and got hit with student debt that's 3 times what their parents paid. Here's another statistic that will make your stomach drop. About 2/3 of people in their 30s and 40s have less wealth than their parents did at the same age. Think about that for a second. Your parents at your age owned homes, had savings, were building toward retirement. And you're probably carrying more debt than any other age group. About $37,000 more than the national consumer debt average. And more than half of unmarried people in their 30s have less than $50,000 saved for retirement. $50,000. That's not even a down payment on a house in most cities. Now I know what you're thinking. But Tom, I'm working hard, I'm doing everything right, and you probably are. But here's the system working against you. The cost of a home has increased by more than 80% from 1970 to 2000. College tuition is 3 times what it was in the late 70s. Wages haven't kept up, and 56% of women still live paycheck to paycheck. That's not a personal failure. That's a systemic reality. But here's where most financial advice gets it wrong. They tell you to just save more, invest smarter, work harder, as if the problem is your discipline, not the economic landscape you're navigating. That's like telling someone to swim faster when they're caught in a riptide. The real issue isn't that you're not trying hard enough. It's that the traditional path to wealth, go to college, get a good job, buy a house, save for retirement, is broken. It worked for your parents because they were playing a different game with different rules. You're playing chess while they were playing checkers, and someone keeps changing the board on you. So what do you do with this information? First, you stop blaming yourself. The anxiety you feel about money isn't because you're doing something wrong. It's because the system is designed to keep you anxious. Second, you need to understand that building wealth in your 30s isn't about following the old playbook. It's about writing a new one. And that starts with recognizing that the metrics of success have changed. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep, how much you grow, and most importantly, how much freedom it actually buys you. The confidence crisis. Let's talk about something that nobody in finance wants to discuss: your confidence. Or more accurately, how the system is designed to crush it. Because here's the brutal truth about building wealth. It's not just about numbers and spreadsheets. It's about psychology. And if your confidence gets shattered, your wealth-building journey ends before it even begins. I want to tell you a story from J.T. O'Donnell's article about soul-crushing feedback. A client came to her for interview coaching, and within minutes she was crying. Why? Because the last time she sought help, a career counselor told her she lacked confidence and wouldn't get the job because she didn't sound like she really knew what she was doing. She started crying in the session and left, never to return. The counselor never followed up. Now here's what's happening psychologically. When you receive feedback like that, especially from someone in a position of authority, your brain doesn't just hear "you need more confidence." It hears "you're not good enough. You're a failure. You'll never make it." And that creates what's called negative self-talk. It's that voice in your head that says, "Who are you to think you can build wealth? You're not smart enough with money. Real investors don't make mistakes like you do." And here's the kicker: this isn't accidental. The financial services industry profits from your insecurity. If you feel confident and capable, you might not need their expensive products. If you feel scared and confused, you're more likely to pay for their expertise. It's the same reason weight loss companies show you before pictures of unhappy people and after pictures of smiling ones. They're not selling you a product. They're selling you the promise that their product will make you worthy. Now stick with me here because this is crucial. Every time you look at someone else's financial freedom story on social media, every time you read about someone retiring at 35, every time you compare your portfolio to someone, you're feeding that negative self-talk. You're reinforcing the idea that you're behind, that you're failing, that you're not doing enough. And that psychological weight makes it harder to take the risks necessary to build real wealth. Because building wealth requires confidence. It requires believing that you can learn, that you can adapt, that you can recover from mistakes. Companies don't hire people who lack confidence. They don't promote people who doubt themselves. And you won't invest in opportunities if you don't believe you have what it takes to make them work. So how do you rebuild that confidence when the system is designed to break it down? First, you grieve. You acknowledge that the feedback hurt, that the comparison game is exhausting, that the pressure is real. But you do it with one trusted person, not by complaining to everyone you know. Second, you address the negative self-talk. You write down all those "I'm not good enough" thoughts and ask, are these truly justified? Usually they're not. Third, you seek help to upskill in areas where you feel weak, not from people who make you feel small, but from mentors who build you up. And fourth, and this is the most important, you get back in the game as quickly as possible. Because confidence isn't built by avoiding failure. It's built by surviving it, by proving to yourself that you can get knocked down and get back up. That's the psychological foundation of wealth that nobody talks about. The freedom trap. Now, I need to tell you about the moment I realized we've all been chasing a false prophet. And this might be the most important thing you hear today. In Ali Katz's post, she describes sitting across from a man worth $100 million. She thought, finally, I'll see what true financial freedom looks like. Instead, she saw the most trapped human being she'd ever met. All he could think about was his money, where it was, what currency it was in, how to protect it, what would happen if he lost it. And most heartbreaking of all, he was convinced, probably correctly, that people were only in his life for his money. That's when she realized financial freedom is a trap, sold to us by a financial services industry that profits from keeping us chasing an impossible dream. Think about it. No matter where you are on this quest, you can feel the trap. Either you're at the bottom thinking, there's no way I'll ever get there, or you've made it, only to discover there's no there. The retirement calculators scream at you to save more. The investment gurus promise secret strategies. The real estate coaches show you pictures of their boats, and you're left feeling like you're always behind, always chasing, never arriving. Now, here's the psychological reason this trap works so well. It taps into our deepest fears and desires. The fear of being poor, the fear of being dependent, the desire for security, the desire for respect. And it promises that if you just reach this magical number, whether it's $1 million or $5 million or $40 million earning 5% interest, then you'll be free, then you'll be happy, then you'll be safe. But here's what actually happens. The closer you get to that number, the more you realize it's not enough. Because now you have something to lose. Now you're worried about protecting it, growing it, not making mistakes with it. Money that was supposed to buy your freedom becomes your prison. Your identity becomes tied to your net worth. Your relationships become transactional. Your peace of mind disappears because you're constantly monitoring markets, worrying about taxes, fearing economic downturns. And the worst part, you can't admit this to anyone because you've achieved the dream. You're supposed to be happy. So you smile for the camera, post the vacation photos, and die a little inside every time you check your portfolio. Now I know what you're thinking, but Tom, isn't money important? Of course it is. Money gives you options. It reduces stress. It provides security. But there's a difference between having enough money to live well and chasing financial freedom as an end goal. Because true freedom isn't found in a bank account balance. It's found in alignment, in doing work that matters to you, in relationships based on something deeper than transactions, in contributing to something larger than yourself. Ali Katz calls this financial liberation, a clear understanding of your unique situation and what you truly need to support yourself through your life. Not planning for retirement, but planning for a lifetime of meaningful contribution. That's the shift that changes everything. The alignment shift. Let's talk about what actually happens in your 30s that makes wealth building different. And it's not what you think. It's not that you suddenly become smarter with money. It's not that opportunities magically appear. It's that something fundamental shifts inside you. You move from misalignment to alignment. And this changes everything about how you build and experience wealth. One of the comments on Cody Sanchez's post put it perfectly. In your 20s, misalignment feels like chaos, energy with no direction, effort with no signal. In your 30s, alignment starts to peek through. You prune, you choose, you calm down. By your 50s, the lesson is clear. You don't win by youth. You don't win by money. You win by alignment. Now, what does that actually mean in practical terms? It means that in your 20s, you're often trying to figure out what others want from you. Your parents, society, even your own confused self. You're chasing what you've been told successful living looks like. The fancy job title, the impressive LinkedIn profile, the right neighborhood, the perfect relationship, and you're exhausted because you're trying to be someone you're not. You're spending energy maintaining a facade instead of building something real. But in your 30s, something starts to shift. You begin growing what one commenter called a brain, the ability to slow down just enough to start listening to yourself. To ask, what do I actually want? What actually matters to me? What am I actually good at? And this isn't some woo-woo spiritual awakening. This is practical survival, because you've tried the other way, you've followed the script, and you've discovered that even when you get what you thought you wanted, it doesn't feel the way you thought it would. The promotion comes with politics you hate. The nice house comes with a mortgage that keeps you awake at night. The impressive title comes with work that drains your soul, so you start pruning. You quit the job that's slowly corroding your spirit. You end the relationship that's more work than joy. You stop saying yes to things you don't care about. And what's left? What remains after all that pruning? That's your alignment. That's the work that actually energizes you, the relationships that actually nourish you, the lifestyle that actually fits you. And here's the wealth-building secret nobody tells you. Alignment is where real wealth gets built. Not just financial wealth, but energy wealth, time wealth, relationship wealth. Because when you're aligned, you're not fighting yourself. You're not wasting energy on things that don't matter. You're focused, you're efficient, you're resilient. And that focus, that efficiency, that resilience, that's what compounds. That's what allows you to build businesses that last, investments that grow, careers that fulfill, relationships that support. It's not that you work harder in your 30s, it's that you work smarter. You work on the right things, and the right things have a way of multiplying. They attract the right people. They create the right opportunities. They build the right kind of wealth, the kind that doesn't just sit in a bank account, but enhances every area of your life. That's the alignment shift, and it's the most important financial decision you'll ever make. The new wealth blueprint. So where does all this leave us? With a new blueprint for building wealth in your 30s that actually works. A blueprint based on reality, not fantasy. On psychology, not just math. On alignment, not just accumulation. And this blueprint has 3 pillars that change everything. First, redefine what wealth means to you. Not based on what financial advisors say, or what social media shows, or what your parents expect. Based on what actually gives you freedom, peace, and meaning. For some people, that might be enough money to work 4 days a week instead of 5. For others, it might be enough to take a year off to travel. For others, it might be enough to start a business without worrying about immediate profits. The number is different for everyone, but the process is the same. Get brutally honest about what you actually need to live well, not what you think you should want to impress others. Second, build from alignment, not ambition. This means starting with who you are, not who you think you should be. What are you actually good at? What actually energizes you? What problems do you actually care about solving? Then build your wealth strategy around those answers. If you hate managing details, don't start a business that requires meticulous bookkeeping. If you love teaching, find ways to monetize that skill. If you value flexibility, build income streams that don't tie you to a desk. Wealth that lasts is built on your strengths, not your weaknesses. On your passions, not your resentments. Third, measure progress differently. Stop measuring your wealth solely by net worth or investment returns. Start measuring it by, how much time do I have for what matters? How much energy do I have at the end of the day? How much stress am I carrying about money? How aligned are my daily actions with my values? These are the metrics that actually determine whether your wealth is working for you or you're working for your wealth. Now, here's the practical application of all this. Start by doing what one commenter suggested. Work in your 20s as if you're in your 30s. Build skills, not just resumes. Collect experiences, not just paychecks. Develop relationships, not just networks. Then in your 30s, leverage that foundation. Use the clarity you've gained to make focused, intentional moves. Invest in what you understand. Build what you care about. Contribute where you can make a difference. And always, always protect your confidence. Because without confidence, you won't take the risks necessary to build real wealth. Without confidence, you'll stay in the safe lane while others pass you. Without confidence, you'll believe the narrative that you're not enough. The brutal truth about building wealth in your 30s is this. It's not about finding a secret formula or following a guru's advice. It's about doing the internal work first. It's about healing the confidence wounds. It's about escaping the freedom trap. It's about finding your alignment. And then, with that foundation solid, building outward, creating wealth that enhances your life instead of complicating it, contributing value instead of just accumulating assets, and finding freedom not in a bank account balance, but in a life well lived. That's the wealth that matters. That's the wealth that lasts. And that's the brutal truth nobody tells you, but that changes everything.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out, and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.